What's up, y'all? Talon here, and today I'm excited to be sharing another top-level team from the online grassroots circuit. This time we have a team that was created by Riggs, who was able to get top 8 at a large grassroots tournament with this team, and it's got a lot of really cool options that were introduced with the Teomass DLC, which I'll go over in a second. But yeah, if you're interested in checking out Riggs, I have their information listed in the description if I'm able to find it. I also have the rental code there, as well as a PokePaste with the EV spread recreation. If you really appreciate the effort it takes to create the EV spreads and build it in game, please subscribe to the channel. Hoping to reach 1,000 subs in the near future. With all that being said, let's get into a breakdown of the team itself. So I'll start off with the more boring members of the team. We have a Chien-Pao. I believe, an Adamant one with Terra Ghost, Sucker Punch, Icicle Crash, Sacred Sword, just kind of the standard set at this point. Dragonite is opting away from the more conventional inner focus for a multiscale, just increasing your general bulk on the first attack. As long as you haven't been chipped down by like Sandstorm or anything like that, you'll take half damage on your first hit while you're full HP. The Terra Normal Extreme Speed pairs just exceptionally well with the Sword of Ruin boost, and the rest are just really solid coverage moves. I got a bit of speed on this Dragonite in case you're paired up against a Rillaboom. Try and outspeed that and hit an Aerial Ace, because unfortunately Dragonite did not get access to dual wing beat. It's tiny little wings, unfortunately, not generating enough force to be taught that TM, unfortunately. And the last Pokemon on the team that's really standard is this Landorus, which is very standard. Choice Scarf, Terra Flying, and essentially it pairs really well with Chien-Pao and Dragonite, because although Chien-Pao is really fast, it can be outsped by something like a Timid Fluttermane if it's an Adamant set, and this just gives you the option to basically swat that with a Terra Blast as long as you haven't been intimidated. Fluttermane can be an issue for Dragonite as well if you lock into extreme speed, so having something like Landorus to act as late game cleanup can just be really nice, as well as augmenting the bulk of the team with Intimidate. So Weezing with Neutralizing Gas is a tool I've been really excited to use. Neutralizing Gas has a lot of really cool mechanics. It stops Intimidate from intimidating your physical attackers if they try and switch it in when the Neutralizing Gas effective is active. And Neutralizing Gas can also stop commander combinations. So if the Dondozo already has the Tatsugiri in its mouth, you can't split them up. But if you have Weezing on the field while Dondozo was on the field, if Tatsugiri switches in, they will not be combined. They won't get the Omni Boost, so that gives you an opportunity to take advantage of Weezing's really solid physical bulk and go for a Will-O-Wisp and basically deal with that combo before it even gets started. Another really cool interaction is you're able to stop Intimidate on switch-in. So if you have Dragonite on the field, you have Multiscale, which is really good, but the only trade-off is that you're able to get Intimidated mainly on the Dragonite. But if you have Weezing on the field, Intimidate won't activate, and you'll be able to take full advantage of the lack of Intimidate and take pretty solid 1-hit KOs with your Terra Normal Extreme Speed. For the moveset, we just have Sludge Bomb, which is good coverage in the many grass types in the format. Taunt is excellent against things like Amoonguss, Trick Room, Will-O-Wisp, just good into all the physical attackers in the meta. And Protect, because Weezing isn't too strong on the special defensive side, you want to be able to go for Protect, stall damage, and let your Pokemon take advantage of the lack of abilities on the field. The next Pokemon I want to mention is the Empoleon. So Empoleon got a new ability. It kind of traded its hidden ability for competitive. It used to have Defiant, which didn't take as good of an advantage of Empoleon's stat line, having a much higher special attack than it does attack. So now whenever you get Intimidated, instead of the +1 Defiant boost, you get a +2 special attack boost, as well as basically a +2 special attack boost whenever you get Shadow Ball, Special Defense dropped, Icy Winded. It's just a really strong ability for Empoleon, and it has a lot of really good coverage moves as well as decent typing. You're basically able to, with this Assault Vest set, wall out Fluttermane. If they go for Shadow Ball into you, it's not going to 2-hit KO you with our investment. And if they do get a special defense drop, you'll actually be able to 1-hit KO them with Flash Cannon. And if they don't, you just take the 2 Shadow Balls and Flash Cannon them twice and knock out. So it's a really good trading Pokemon. Hydro Pump, obviously very strong into any fire types. Ice Beam's pretty cool. And Grass Knot with the Terra Fairy is kind of a cool bait for water type Urshifu, because they'll want to go for close combat. But if they do that into your Terra Fairy, you knock them out with Grass Knot. You get pretty close to a knockout before they've even lowered their special defense drop. So yeah, you're able to take knockouts definitely after they drop their defensive with close combat. Last Pokemon on the team is a Rillaboom with a really interesting moveset. It's Grassy Surge, Grassy Seed. So basically, if Weezing isn't on the field, you can set up your own grassy terrain and get a defense boost off that, and then go for Swords Dance and do a ton of damage with Grassy Glide and High Horsepower. High Horsepower, a new tool. You used to have to go Stomping Tantrum, but now you get a little bit more damage into things like Heatran or other fire type Pokemon resisting Grassy Glide. And I think this is a really cool set. Basically, a combination I had thought out is you have Rillaboom and Weezing on the field, that your opponent has physical attackers, and although they can't intimidate you, you're in control of when Weezing enters and leaves the field. So you can essentially just switch out the Weezing, get your Grassy Seed boost and an Intimidate off if you switch into Lando, and the after effect of that is suddenly they're doing about less than half damage than they were expecting to that turn, which can give you an opportunity to get a Swords Dance up and really clean up the game. So overall, this is a very cool team, a lot of cool tools. I think it takes advantage of the temptation to want to intimidate Dragonite when it has multiscale, while also having tools to really take advantage of that, like the neutralizing gas to stuff it, and if they do go for it, you have a competitive on Empoleon to basically punish them on the special side. So that will do it for the team breakdown. We'll go into the battles now. Once again, if you enjoy the videos, the breakdowns, and the teams I'm sharing, please subscribe to the channel. And with all that being said, let's get into the battles. Next one is a pretty standard Regulation D team. It looks pretty similar to the Hirofumi team, which was able to get, I believe, top 16 at Worlds, maybe top 32, and then another player with a similar 6 was able to get either top 8 or top 16. I'm not sure the ordering of that, but the conventional one is the Life Orb Chien-Pao one, which is really threatening. I think we are not super strong against Tailwind, truthfully, but we do have some options. I think Empoleon with Terra Steel is pretty cool. They're not probably prepared for Terra Grass, if I had to guess. I think Empoleon's a pretty solid lead. Along with Lando to weaken their offensive prowess. I think Rillaboom's really strong against Flutter, as well as Arcanine. If we can, I mean, we won't get the speed advantage and get a higher horsepower off, but if for some reason they aren't targeting Rillaboom, we get a Terra Fire off. That could be pretty cool. And Dragonite could be nice. I think we're leaning a little weak to something. I think we're okay against I think we're not great against Chien-Pao, so I do want something to switch into U-turn, essentially. Or U-turn into Ice Cold Crash. So I'm bringing the Chien-Pao, even though it doesn't switch in that well, it's better than Dragonite would. But yeah, they do have Intimidate of their own. It does not threaten super effective damage. Flare Blitz will do a lot, but not crazy damage at -1 after Intimidate, so I definitely want to make good use of Intimidate this battle. And there is the Rillaboom, so they can do a lot of damage with Wood Hammer, but again, nothing crazy. And yeah, I think Rillaboom of our own is pretty good once the Tornadus is gone, so we're going to focus on that. This is Terra Flying, it's not any other Terra. They could go for Icy Wind or something, which would be annoying for sure. I don't really want to switch into the Grassy move yet. Would I be willing to trade, if they don't fake out, would I be willing to trade Lando for Tornadus this game? I think the answer is no. So I'm going to go for Ice Beam and U-turn into the Rillaboom. Yeah, they didn't fake out. But we probably wouldn't have traded the Lando anyways. They are going for Wood Hammer into the Empoleon at -1, going to do a lot, but not going to be a 2-hit KO after Grassy Terrain, but in range of, yeah, in range of another hit. Okay, so that did a lot of damage. Probably would be better in the future to EV to not take that much, but it is what it is. They should be in Sucker Punch range now, which is good. Unless they have switched to having the option to Grassy Glide on this team, which is possible, but I don't think is overwhelmingly likely. So we Ice Beam, and it's going to do pretty close to a knockout, definitely in range of a Flash Cannon now, which is just a better coverage play for us because it does more damage. So yeah, now I do like just Flash Cannon into you, and Sucker Punch the Rillaboom feels fine. I'm maybe weakening myself to Urshifu, but not really. 96, maybe they don't. I think Sucker Punch Torn is probably a little better here. And Flash Cannon. or Ice Beam the Rillaboom. They protected Torn, so I could have just Sucker Punched Rillaboom, but they made a solid play there. I think that was kind of a weird play, but I got a little aggressive. Now they take away my Empoleon, which was really... that was definitely a pretty big risk on my part, and it pays off pretty well for them. So I could have Sucker Punched the Rillaboom. I actually should have, probably, and I'm going to bring in the Rillaboom now. You're losing turns of grassy terrain, so I think I'm not going to go for the setup just yet. I think I will Sucker Punch Grassy Glide into the Torn and Rillaboom because I guess they're just not biting. Yep. We might be falling into my... One of the things that annoys me most playing, like, I've been playing the game for a long time, but what always consistently makes me so annoyed is when you had like a free priority knockout one turn, and then your opponent like realizes it the next turn, and then they just cover for it. It's like, come on, dude. I just totally wasted my time making that play last turn and then got punished for it this one, but doesn't look like it. Taking the Rillaboom, we would have been really well off with our Empoleon to stifle Intimidate last time, but yeah, Grassy Glide should knock out Torn, and with the defense boost and Intimidate in the back, we should be looking pretty solid on Rillaboom damage-wise, but definitely not in the clear yet. And with a couple more protects, we'll stall out Tailwind, and our Choice Scarf Lando should be doing pretty well. Flutter Mane last. Unless it's booster speed, we should have pretty complete speed superiority, and it is the Arcanine. Okay. And there is a booster from the Flutter Mane, unfortunately, so it could be Icy Wind, which it sometimes is on these teams. Yeah, that's going to be an issue. Let's see. 2 turns of Grassy Terrain, and a couple turns of Tailwind. 1 turn, okay. So I think easy, just double protect. No reason to mess about, and we will see what they opt for. Thankfully, because of the Grassy Seed, I don't actually think they can beat us 1v1. With Arcanine after high horsepower, I think. But yeah, they Moonblast the Chien-Pao, fair enough. And Flare Blitz into my Rillaboom. It's usually choice bound on this team. I think I will actually go for a Terra Fire high horsepower plus Sucker Punch into the Arcanine. Oh, they didn't Terra yet, did they? I don't think they did. They led Tornadus plus Rillaboom, they didn't Terra. So this was actually a bad play. If they gone for a Terra normal here, this would have been like very low valuable for me, or very low value. But yeah, they have to go for Rock Slide and read this play and also not be choice banded, which would be a pretty big deviation from the original team. But yeah, this was definitely a mistake on my part. Yep, they don't though. Good for me. Still does a lot of damage after the grassy, even through grassy terrain, so. This is all fine. I think I do just knock you out and then switch. I could Sucker Punch switch, but I didn't think that's a little liable to Icy Wind in the late game. I think the better play for me is just actually Grassy Glide Protect. Well, no, I think if I just switch out to Lando, I should be fine and protect. The only problem is if they let me, like if I give them Rillaboom without having Chien-Pao on the field, then I probably don't knock out with Grassy Glide. Grassy Glide Sucker Punch should always close it out. They go for a Terra. Cool, cool, cool. Oh. They are oftentimes Terra Grass on this team, aren't they? Yeah, I probably could have lived an Icy Wind on my Lando and gone for U-turn and closed it out, but now I've risked a lot by going for that play. Risked so much. Okay. Moonblast goes into the Lando, into the Chien-Pao though, so that's fine. Now I think I just go for U-turn, refresh the Intimidate onto my Chien-Pao, which I do have, right? Yep, I do have that, and then I just switch into Rillaboom. and U-turn either gets them into Sucker Punch range, or they just Icy Wind, and then I just get them with Protect, Swords Dance, Grassy Glide in a couple turns. So yep, there's the Moonblast into the Rillaboom. They probably don't have Icy Wind, otherwise they would have gone for it. Yeah, U-turn doesn't do a knockout, but within Sucker Punch range, so this is pretty much locked up. They could maybe figure out a way to win with like Calm Mind. I doubt it though. I really don't think they have a chance. We're healing too much HP at this point, so it is just Sucker Punch, Grassy Glide. Yep, they cancel out, no point. If they don't have like Substitute, and I don't go for, like if I have Fake Out, they just lose. If I have Swords Dance, I have to go for it that turn. So yeah, they call it early, but they didn't have much of a chance. And just thinking back on that battle, I think the Rillaboom was on their side was definitely the swinger. Like the Woodhammer doing so much damage to my Empoleon, like we saw in the back, it was Arcanine and Fluttermane, both of which don't do that well against Empoleon with Intimidate support. If I'm able to shuffle that in and out. So definitely think I made some mistakes, like making a really aggressive play against the Rillaboom, not Sucker Punching. Now we're up against a whole different type of team with a ton of new Pokemon, with the Dusclops, Vikavolt, Ursaluna, the old Mons, the Armarouge, Indeedee, Psychic Spam combination, and a Crawdaunt. So, Taunt Weezing, really good against Dusclops. It can taunt the Armarouge or the Indeedee pretty nicely. I'm not Ice Spinner on this set, unfortunately. Whenever you see Armarouge on a weird team, you should think, okay, is there U-turn anything? It could be Choice Scarf, Vikavolt, I guess, with U-turn, but it seems a little unlikely. I don't have Crunch, unfortunately, on this Chien-Pao. Weezing does stop Psychic Terrain, though. That's worth considering, for sure. I can probably just, like, E-Speed stuff pretty easily, then. That seems pretty cool. I think I'm just going to not let them get Psychic Terrain up and just do that. Yeah, that seems like a good plan to me. Then in the back, Empoleon could be pretty good with into a lot of their Pokemon. Maybe not all of them, but a good chunk. And we'll bring the Rillaboom as well. Yeah, I think being able to Sucker Punch or Grassy Glide the Crawdaunt could be pretty nice. I'm going to be considerate of not burning the normal Terra on the Dragonite though, as early. Just because on some level, yeah, it's a lot of damage, but I could also lock into Outrage, I could go for normal extreme speeds, and Terra Fairy on the Empoleon could be pretty nice for me late game too. Particularly against Blood Moon Ursaluna. So they go Dusclops Ursaluna, which makes sense. Actually didn't lead that strong into the Ursaluna for the Weezing, but I should be able to taunt regardless and go for Taunt Outrage seems kind of interesting, but not that good. Yeah, I think I'll just go for Taunt Outrage and hit one of them for a ton of damage. I'd rather that than like bite into... Yeah, Outrage is just better than E-Speed in this situation. It's going to do a ton of damage to either. Get pretty close to like 70% on the Ursaluna, and no Protect, fair enough. Dusclops is now in knockout range of another one, and it's not getting Trick Room up, which fair trade all things considered. And they go for Moonblast into the Dragonite, which is definitely in my favor, that trade. They lower my special attack, totally fine. And they actually didn't even put me in range of Nightshade, so we're good with that. And I think we just go for Rillaboom and... Oh yeah, sorry, I freaked out. Outrage is automatically going to go. But yeah, they can't Will-O-Wisp me. It's most likely going to be Hyper Voice or Earth Power into the Weezing. But this is on some level a bit of a mistake, in that I took Neutralizing Gas Pressure off of the field, meaning they could set up Psychic Terrain and do pretty well against me. But yeah, Ursaluna Blood Moon form is scary. It's probably Assault Vest based on that coverage. I do knock out the Dusclops, so 2 hits into that, fair. Very good for me, but yeah, taking the Weezing off the field kind of felt like a mistake. Especially when they're likely to go for Hyper Voice this turn. Yeah, instead of Earth Power. So I could have just protected, let my Dragonite go down, and then bring in either Empoleon or Rillaboom this turn, because now I've weakened my grassy terrains. I guess I can just bring in the Weezing here and stop that way. Haven't burned a Terra yet either. Vikavolt comes out. Weird. Yeah, that's kind of odd. But yeah, Weezing's Neutralizing Gas kind of useless for me then. Yeah, I'm not worried about... Empoleon's kind of looking a little weird. Yeah, this Vikavolt's actually non-trivial to deal with. I could go for Terra Fire. I don't think I get a ton of value. I think I want to get a bit of damage onto the Vikavolt. Yeah, I'm kind of scared. They have a nice discharge combination coming here too. Like they could discharge Hyper Voice or something. They go for a Terra on the Ursaluna. It's going to be Terra Fairy. We have Flash Cannon, so I'm happy that we preserved our Empoleon for that. The Terra Fairy, now we can handle the Vikavolt and go for Flash Cannon to the Ursaluna. We Sludge Bomb. Does reasonable damage into the Vikavolt, getting a poison, pretty important. And it does Blood Moon into the Weezing. I am max special defense, but they do crit. Unfortunate. Okay. Yep, no more Neutralizing Gas, but that's not doing anything but raising their Vikavolt off the ground, and I wasn't high horsepowering them anyways, but we could have gone for it that turn. That is kind of feeling like a... like Hyper Voice, Moonblast, Blood Moon. You probably have Earth Power. I would expect that to be Assault Vest on that guy. Empoleon comes in now. I think we kind of just go for Grassy Glide plus Terra Fairy Ice Beam. I don't really want to risk missing yet on the Vikavolt. Hydro Pump probably knocks out. Probably knocks out, right? My Empoleon, unfortunately, is not max, doesn't have much speed. But I think it should outspeed Vikavolt. Based on the damage, it didn't feel like Assault Vest. I think I go Swords Dance here, and I think I go for Hydro Pump. Is that necessary, though? I think I need the damage to beat the Ursaluna with Swords Dance, actually. AV... yeah, it's going to be close. We are going to go for the Terra Fairy to take minimal damage from the Earth Power. If they go for Hyper Voice, so be it, I guess. We would have taken half damage on that, but I think it's just not worth it to be in range of Earth Power. So we Swords Dance, we're moving first, that's nice. And Hydro Pump does hit, very cool. And it does knock out. Okay, so the poison damage probably tipped it in our favor. It might have been a little dicey outside of that. Yeah, they did Earth Power, so correct Terra there. Special defense drop would actually be good for us here, but no competitive special attack raise from that. But the grassy terrain really buffing up the bulk of this Pokemon a lot. Okay, Crawdaunt comes in. That's totally fine. 2 turns of grassy terrain left. I kind of expect for +2 Grassy Glide plus Flash Cannon to knock them out. The only question is, if they knock out Rillaboom, knock me out that way? I guess I have the Grassy Seed, so I shouldn't be too worried about that. Yeah, I think I'll get after the Ursaluna this turn. Because Protect is reasonably likely with Crawdaunt. I think Flash Cannon should knock out. They do go for Aqua Jet anyway, it's not going to do much. They are AV, but Ursaluna has a low special defense stat. So the Flash Cannon is able to take it out, and the double starter combo going in. Just a lot of bulk between these two and really good coverage, and once we got the Swords Dance up, we were able to do the damage that we needed to. So really dicey. Okay, we have this one wrapped up, but the Trick Room mode was definitely a little scary for us. We had to, what felt like kind of sack Weezing turn 1, but they just never took it. I think a potentially really strong avenue for them would have been lead Ursaluna into my Weezing. Obviously, it's going to try and taunt your Trick Room setter, but use that opportunity to Earth Power knock out my Weezing and then bring in Psychic Terrain later in the game. Instead, they kind of opted for Vikavolt, which doesn't seem that good. I feel like maybe Vikavolt plus like Armarouge would have been good, but I don't really get Cradont in the back. And it's Glaceon, Tornadus, Landorus, Chi-Yu, Ogerpon, Wellspring, and Gardevoir. So pretty standard outside of the top and bottom mons, but not a lot for priority blocking, so I think Lando is pretty good. I think Lando plus Empoleon seems pretty strong. Empoleon in general, I think I want to lead so that if they don't lead very specifically to beat... Like Lando, Empoleon's a generally very strong lead just because Lando does a ton of damage. You need to be intimidating it to minimize its damage output, but if you have Empoleon in the field, that is like not really an option. Glaceon, I'll be honest, I don't really know what's going on there, but I think Sucker Punch is always going to be valuable on Chien-Pao. And in terms of switch-ins, I think stopping Earthquake is like decently good. But I do like Dragonite in the back, just to be able to pressure, because they have a lot of fairly physical weak Pokemon and not a lot of counterplay to extreme speed other than Terra Ghost. So if we can burn a Terra on something that isn't Chi-Yu, which is oftentimes Terra Ghost, we should be kind of chilling with E-Speed plus Chien-Pao in the back. And I think Empoleon is going to be a pretty big part of dismantling that early wall that they put up. But they might have timed out. So we could be seeing Glaceon Torn lead, which would be lovely for Empoleon. Just no offensive pressure into me. But yeah, they don't have a lot of offensive pressure into Empoleon in general. It's just got a really solid type into the metagame. You're getting hit at worst by neutral. You're at worst getting hit by neutral hits for the most part, so it's just really nice to not have to deal with that. You're really only weak to the fighting type damage. You have Earthquake, you have the Rillaboom for grassy terrain, and Landorus doesn't really want to come against you, so that kind of just leaves Ursaluna, which you have good game into against with the Weezing, being able to neutralize its Guts ability. But yeah, double shinies, and kind of the lead we expected. You have some reason to be worried about the Glaceon. It could outspeed my Lando, if it's max speed, I would guess, which is definitely a problem. I don't think Torn's that much of an issue, so I'm going to Flash Cannon you and switch out into Chien-Pao. Well, yeah, I think Flash Cannon is good. Lando's definitely threatened here, so I don't want to just get Ice Beamed. So I'll switch into Chien-Pao, even knowing if they go for Bleak Wind, it's a little dire. I feel like they have to go Tailwind. Tailwind Ice Beam seems most likely to me. I've actually never paid enough attention to this background to see that all the squares on it are the 17 Terra types, which is pretty interesting. Nice little detail I wasn't aware of on the battle square in the main game. But yeah, it looks like they're taking their time here. Maybe they've just gone AFK and that's why they selected random Pokemon. But I've definitely had battles where the opponent was like on Pokemon Showdown and it was auto-selecting their moves, and they were like... I was trying to cover like their most likely plays, but it just so happened their first selected moves were really aggressive and were covering my switches and options really well. But Glaceon switches out into Empoleon, so also gets Intimidate onto my Chien-Pao. But I think that's a trade I gladly take, because Flash Cannon almost certainly puts them... Special attack. Oh, Mirror Herb. Oh, that's interesting. Are you Swagger? Swagger Mirror Herb? That's really funny. Air Slash does a lot of damage, so they definitely read me, but they read my switch, but they did not read Flash Cannon doing that much damage to Lando. That is a one-hit KO after competitive. That is so nice. Yeah, they didn't have a lot of good switch-ins. They maybe could have gone to Chi-Yu, but Yeah, that's not it. Gardevoir, you really want that to be Chi-Yu, buddy. Yeah, Ice Beam into Torn. I don't want them getting Tailwind up. And I'll just protect. I don't really see a lot of damage coming out here. If I wanted to cover Glaceon switch, I could go for Flash Cannon if I thought that 2-hit KO'd. But I think Torn, although based off the Air Slash damage, I could kind of see it being very offensive and low HP, but no reason to risk it. It doesn't look like they're switching anyway, so Ice Beam feels like it's the stronger play. And Empoleon is just like sitting. Against teams that are not primarily physical, which to be fair is a lot of the metagame, if you have something like Empoleon with the Assault Vest with just really good defensive typing, Steel Water, you can wall out a lot of Pokemon and do like really effective trades, I've been finding. A lot of the Pokemon like I've been testing, like the newer Pokemon with new access like Shiftry, other things, they Hypnosis and miss the Empoleon, that was kind of their way to get out of that. But their main value is usually not super, like Shiftry Wind Rider is very specific to certain teams. Empoleon's competitive ability, like generally I was more of a Milotic believer, but the Steel typing is just really, really valuable. Like Flash Cannon is like non-trivial coverage in this metagame, so I've been really impressed by it. At this point I do kind of just like keeping my Lando alive and sucker punching Gardevoir, I guess. They have to hit a Hypnosis to have a chance to win this, and even then, they just don't have the damage in the Empoleon. Yeah, that was a clean sweep with Empoleon. So that's kind of just the value of it, right? If you get the competitive boost, you already have a very impressive special attack. You're hitting off of Hydro Pumps, Ice Beams, Grass Knot, Flash Cannon. You have enough coverage to hit almost anything in the metagame for super effective damage, and you're doing like minimum 90 when you're at +2 if you're hitting super effective on the bulkiest of Pokemon, and like mediocre bulk Pokemon, well not mediocre, but like something like a Lando is just not surviving that, even at neutral. So yeah, really impressive game for Empoleon. Okay, last one of the day. I think this is actually really close to the team that Wolf just used in the some online tournament. It's Sinistcha with next to Clefairy and Como for really consistent setups. Usually it's I believe it was a Snorlax with Belly Drum over the Wellspring, Ogerpon, maybe something over Chien-Pao as well, but yeah, definitely gotta watch out for that very pesky Throat Spray Como set. They can consistently get Trick Room up, which is definitely something to be concerned about. They're totally walled by Empoleon though, which is definitely really good. The rest of their team does decent against it though. I do feel like Lando is pretty solid. Machagacha is very scary for me here though. It's very scary here because it can burn all my physical attackers and I can't do a lot about it. Yeah, that's definitely dangerous. I think I'll lead with the Empoleon plus Landorus to get some consistent chip off. Yeah, I don't have a switch in for the other move, unfortunately. I think Chien-Pao Sucker Punch has some value here, and Choice Band could be good. Like Dragonite, weirdly enough, even though I can get Machagacha, I can at least Aerial Ace the Sinistcha, whereas Rillaboom literally has resisted hits into the Sinistcha, and it's just Machagacha and Strength Sap Food. And is also just very bad against Como in general. Como naturally high defense stat. After the clanging scales, or the clang gristle, you're doing even less damage. You're basically set up food for it. So Sinistcha hands, very consistent Trick Room setup. Kind of expected something like that. And the Empoleon is pretty good offensively here, but defensively pretty bad. Or flip that. So the thing is, I can get after the Sinistcha this turn with Terra Blast. I don't think I should. I think I might just go Ice Beam, Stomp. If they let me get the damage off into hands, that's good. But maybe I should have gone for Terra Fairy here. I don't actually know Empoleon's weight, but I expect Iron Hand's Heavy Slam is still pretty high onto that. They're going for a Terra of their own though, which could be to reduce Stomping Tantrum damage, could be to, yeah, they're going for the Iron Hand, so That is not going to be good for them for Grass Knot damage. Granted, they'll probably 2-hit KO me this turn, but yeah, good play from them. As I do a bit of damage. Oh, Lob Charge, good play. They're outspeeding my Empoleon, actually. That is relevant. I think Grass Knot's going to do a lot of damage there. So I could have gone for Terra Fairy and gone up pretty big that turn, but I did not. And now we're in a bit of trouble. I think Grass Knot's pretty good though. And I don't want to burn... What? They probably don't expect Grass Knot coming out. I think it'll probably knock out Iron Hands. Who do I want to preserve here? Because I think Sinistra's getting back up to full stop. Yeah, I'll go for Grass Knot into hands and then switch into... I think Dragonite. Machagacha doesn't have like... I think it's 20% chance to burn. So I think I'll risk that. I could also be speed tying this Iron Hands though. Because I think we're both the same base speed stat. But yeah, we do get the Grass Knot off and it doesn't knock out, unfortunately. In range of Sucker Punch or Extreme Speed at this point, but kind of looking unfortunate. They could Wild Charge, knock themselves out though. Yeah, up to full for the Sinistra, and they do Drain Punch, unfortunately, but they're still in range of an Extreme Speed. And they kind of have to go for a Sinistra burn here, I think. Like, I can easily Extreme Speed Ice Cold Crash the Sinistra, which I think is what I'm going to set up for here. Yeah, the Grass Knot coming in very clutch, otherwise the Iron Hands would be way too high HP to handle in this battle. But yep, we're going to go for that, and Extreme Speed, and unless their ally switch Sinistra, this should be okay. Because Rage Powder is not... Oh. We are in Trick Room. We are very much in Trick Room. Ah, okay. That was a mistake. That is... Oh, okay, they expected Terra Normal. Granted, I probably should have Terra Ghosted my Chien-Pao last turn. But yeah, I'm so unfamiliar with... I mean, I'm not unfamiliar with it. I know how the mechanic works, but it's easy to forget how the mechanic works a lot of the time. Yeah, I'm going to go for, I guess, Ice Cold Crash again into Sinistra and Extreme Speed. Yeah, I cooked myself that turn. I could have gone up big with Aerial Ace. But yeah, Sinistra is really challenging. Like, it's gotten back up to full HP. It'll probably get up again if it Strength Saps my Dragonite. Machagacha is going to do a ton of damage. They do switch out the hands. Ogerpon comes in. That's not taking 0, but I did waste my Terra on Chien-Pao here. But U-turn is consistent damage into Ogerpon, so that's really solid. And we should be knocking out the Sinistra this turn. Man, it lives in Ice Cold Crash. That's crazy bulk. I'm adamant. Sinistra might be broken. What the heck? Yeah, they're just going to go for Machagacha probably this turn. Fish for some burns or Strength Sap Chien-Pao. Bring itself back up to full. Oh my goodness, this mon is something else. Okay. This mon is crazy. Full HP. Oh my goodness. This thing's absurd. Are you kidding me? Oh my goodness. Okay. One turn of Trick Room left. I think I'm just going to Protect Switch. Oh my goodness, this thing's crazy. This Pokemon's insane. Yeah, Strength Sap it's just got such a crazy support kit, and I wouldn't have expected it to live that Ice Cold Crash, not at neutral. This mon is a menace. I love it. I'm excited to use this for myself at some point. This is such a strong Pokemon in my opinion. They Strength Sap the Lando, really solid play. They're going to be back up to full. I already Terra'd. Like if they hit me with the water one this turn, I think I lose. Okay, Horn Leech, fair enough. Ice Skull Crash, U-turn probably doesn't knock them out actually, unfortunately. I could try and knock out the Ogre Pawn, given I can't knock out the Sinistra. Oh my goodness, it's so annoying. Okay. I think I'll actually U-turn the Ogre Pawn on the chance that they don't protect. But I think... Oh, they follow me. That feels like a misplay. I don't think U-turn's going to knock them out, but I think they had a pretty safe protect that turn. And Trick Room. And I shouldn't be able to knock them out. Maybe they didn't want to risk a flinch, which fair enough, but now I get my Dragonite in. I'm just gonna... Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen a Pokemon that's able to just tank damage like this and heal it off as, like, while also being really annoying for the opponent. So yeah, Sinistra to watch out for on not just teams that are as focused, setup focused as this and Wolf's team, but just crazy potential on this mon. But we do get Clefairy, interesting, okay. So they're probably going to start going for Matcha Gotcha, which is pretty annoying, because if they get a burn, I do probably just lose. Yeah, dangerous spot. If they get the burn, I don't really see what I do. Like, I don't really think I can do anything. Like, I think I have to go after the... Oh man, okay. Clefairy probably with Protect, Aerial Ace. Yeah, they have a lot of bulk on this team. I think Aerial Ace is probably smarter here. I don't think I could have ever hit the Sinistra this turn. Ice Skull Crash at -1 isn't going to do a lot to Clefairy. They do finally go for Matcha Gotcha. If they get the burn here, it's looking bad. Not gonna lie. And they hit us, and they don't burn. Very nice. And Clefairy takes a heaping helping of damage. Okay. I think now Ice Skull Crash should pretty easily knock out the Clef. I think I'm in a position where Dragonite... I really don't want to get it burned, because I think Aerial Ace is probably my out against the Iron Hands. So Ice Skull Crash should take out the Clef unless they burn me, and Clefairy shouldn't have any methods of healing. Yeah, they follow me again. I feel like this sort of thing, it's really annoying if you get the burns, but I think a better use for Matcha Gotcha, or like this guy, okay, they don't get a burn, so we got pretty lucky in that regard. Doing pretty well there. And now it's just the Iron Hands left, with a couple turns of Trick Room trickling down. Yeah, I think as long as we get out of Trick Room, we should win with Aerial Ace. Sucker Punch isn't going to knock out the hands, no way. So I think I'll switch in to Dragonite here and U-turn. Because let's be honest, they're probably going to Rage Powder. And I don't really just want... sacrificing Dragonite could be bad here to Wild Charge. But I think if they go for that, then U-turn would have knocked them out. I think we are reaching a good, solid game state where we're forcing them to go for Rage Powder. And they finally get the burn. E-Speed probably knocks them out. Double burn. Okay, fair enough. They're bound to get something eventually. Lando flinches and could not move. Let's see. Wild Charge obviously going to do a lot of damage. Yeah, Wild Charge going to do a lot of damage. I think if we could force them... Like, E-Speed maybe forces them to knock themselves out. But I don't knock out Sinistra from full HP. Gonna be a close one. I think Wild Charge is probably what they go for. Extreme Speed I don't think is going to get a knockout on them after the burn. So I think I'm going to go Outrage, U-turn, the Sinistra. They could miss Machagacha, but I think it is probably just Wild Charge. Okay, there is the Strength Sap, so they would have let me Extreme Speed, which kind of feels weird. I feel like you just take the knockout, but they Heavy Slam, probably expecting Chien-Pao to switch out, which I think is a mistake. Now I get a big damage. Outrage is going to knock their Sinistra in range of Icicle Crash, it looks like, and then if I hit that, Outrage should be knocking out the Iron Hands. But yeah, we were low enough where a Heavy Slam would have knocked us out, so glad we didn't switch there. They probably get a little antsy. Okay, and now we just go for it, I think, because we can't really afford to Sacred Sword when they can Rage Powder. This is just going to come down to us hitting the Icicle Crash. And we do hit, should knock out. Yeah, it does, okay. This Pokemon was starting to surprise me. Maybe I super high rolled the last one that did 90 and I just like low roll it, but no dice. Outrage into hands does knock out with the Sword of Ruin boost, so really close game. The Machagacha burns at the end there kind of started to make things pretty tight, but we were able to tidy it up at the end there. Yeah, but Sinistra got back up to full HP, what, twice that game after going down pretty low? Man, really close game. They played the Iron Hands very well. I think if they had maybe preserved it a little more, like taking the Grass Knot was probably what lost them the game. If they had switched into anything, like Ogre Pond would have been pretty safe there. Clefairy would have been decent. They would have just probably won, but because they got unexpected Grass Knot damage doing 50% of their HP to hands, they got into some hot water. So that will do it today for the Weezing Empoleon Rillaboom Swords Dance team. It was really cool. I feel like the Empoleon was definitely the standout member of the team. The other ones were a little more niche, but having the Empoleon to consistently punish opponents that are trying to intimidate your strong physical attackers seems like it's something that's very applicable. And Empoleon just has such good defensive type and an offensive coverage. This is definitely a Pokemon I can see having some good finishes throughout the year. So if you want to use the team, of course, the rental code is in the top right of the video. The Pokepaste with the EV spreads that I was able to make from the team's creator, also in the description below, along with their Twitter account. If you enjoyed the battles, please subscribe to the channel. And with all that being said, peace, y'all.